Okay, this is installment number 2 of parallel lines and transversals, and so now we're going to start looking at some examples and do some solving of angles. So in this case, we have two parallel lines, one right here and one up here, or one down here, and we have a transversal that cuts them, and it looks like it cuts them at 90 degrees, but it's really close. It's actually 91 here. So our goal for this is let's figure out all the angles that are formed when this transversal cuts the parallel lines. So, let's start with the vertical angle here. This one is 91, so the one right across from it is also 91. So let's write that, 91 degrees. Okay, and then these other two angles that are right next to the 91s, those have to make this add up to 180 because we get a nice straight line here. So if we go 180 minus 91, we end up with 89 degrees. So this is 89 here. And then same thing up here, 89 and 91, those also add up to 180, so 89. Okay, and then like I said in the previous video about corresponding angles, if we move this up here, this 91 is going to match up down here. This 89 is going to match up here. This 91 is going to match up here. This 89 is going to match up here. So we got all of the 7 other angles in this, and all we needed was just one of them. And remember, that's only if these two lines here and here are parallel. They have to be parallel, otherwise this does not work. And then the next section, you'll actually prove. So if the angles are like this, then you can say, well, then the lines have to be parallel. That's part of section 3.4. Okay, so let's look at an example, but now, of course, let's throw some algebra in it. So it says find the measure of angle 3. Okay, so angle 3 is right here. And angle 3 and 6x plus 12, the vocab term we learned in the previous video, these are called corresponding angles. And corresponding angles are always congruent. So that means if this is 6x plus 12 right here, then 3 would also be 6x plus 12. Okay, so now that we know that we have a linear pair here. The 2x plus 8 and the 6x plus 12, they form a nice straight line. And whenever we have a linear pair, they add up to 180. So let's set up an equation here. We'll go 2x plus 8 plus 6x plus 12 equals 180. Okay, and then now we can solve for x, and then once we solve for x, we can figure out the measure of angle 3. So we've got 2x plus 6x, that's 8x. We've got 8 plus 12, that's 20. Now we can solve this. I'd probably subtract 20 from both sides. We get 8x equals 160, and then divide both sides of the equation by 8. And we get x equals 20. So we know that x is 20. That doesn't give us our answer, what we're looking for, but it does get us really close. So if we know x is 20, then we would go 6 times 20, and then plus 12. And that will give us angle 3. So 6 times 20 is 120. Add 12 to that, we get 132. So angle 3 is 132 degrees. Okay, and we only could do that because these lines were parallel, and we knew that this 6x plus 12 and 3 were corresponding angles. Okay, let's look at one more example, and then we'll be done for this video. This one says find the measure of angle 1, and we have a 6x plus 5 here, and we have an 8x minus 25 here. Well, these two angles that we have right here, these are alternate interior angles. And we learned before that alternate interior angles are congruent. So that means that 6x plus 5 has to be the same as 8x minus 25. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up an equation where they are the same, so therefore I'd probably use the symbol equal. So I'll go 8x minus 25 equals 6x plus 5. Okay, then we just solve this. So I might add 25 to both sides. There's more than one right way to do this for sure. So we get 8x equals 6x plus 30. And then we minus 6x from both sides. We end up with 2x equals 30. And then I give myself some room here. Divide by 2. And I get x equals 15. All right, so I don't think they were asking us to solve for x, but we definitely need to do that to get to where we wanted. So they said find angle 1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 15, that's what I got for x, put that in for x here, and then I'll get this angle, and once I have this angle, I can figure out what angle 1 is. All right, so let's do that. 8 times 15, I'll switch up colors here. 8 times 15 minus 25. And so 8 times 15 is 120. Minus 25 is 95 degrees. So this angle right here is 95 degrees. Okay, so to figure out angle 1 then, these two have to add up to 180. So I would do 180, take away 95, and I'm left with 85 degrees. So angle 1 is 85 degrees. All right, so there's a few examples using parallel lines and transversals. This is probably what some of your homework problems are going to look like.